池上彰と
増田ユリヤの
YouTube 学園。
増田さんがアメリカの激戦州のあちこちを取材しているというんですが、今回は激戦州で共和党の運動をしている学生たちに話を聞いたんですね。
はい、ウィスコンシン州に行ってきました。で、アメリカは若い世代の有権者の数って多いですよね。だから、若い方たちがどういうことを考えているかということも、今回の選挙に影響するんじゃないかなと思って、ウィスコンシン大学の学生の方たちに話を聞きに行ったんです。で、その学生の方たちは、共和党を支持しているっていう団体だったんですね。一体どんな考えを持っているのかということを見ていただきましょう。
Nice to meet you.
I'm Gage.
まずこの会はどういう目的で開かれている会なんでしょうか。
Yeah, so I mean, we came to college at about a time when we wanted conservatism to spread more, and I think in our generation, Gen Z, a lot of people were getting sort of like a pushback from previous generations, like millennials, which are very, they typically are Democrat, and now the Gen Zs, who's the generation right after, are feeling a pushback against that generation, just because, for whatever reason, they don't like the effects that millennials and previous generations like the baby boomers have had. And there was the sexual revolution in the 60s, so a lot of like the moral law and moral code was lost with the baby boomer generation. They raised the millennials, and then the millennials came about, and they're really angsty because they didn't have strong parental figures being, from the baby boomer generation. They didn't have strong parental figures, and they were sort of, they did not have guidance. So they grew up, I would say, in a immoral way, in an incorrect way, someplace that led them down a bad path. And because of that, because they were led down that bad path, they all end up sort of in a similar vein, where they are naturally against authority. They naturally have a disposition against anything that's traditional, and they have a pushback against things from the previous generations because they themselves don't like their own parents. Now, with the Gen Zs who are getting born after this generation, they have the natural pushback because I think it always swings one way and then it swings another. Naturally, it's just like the way that people are. A generation will be more liberal and then it will swing more conservative.
単純にちょっとお聞きしたいんですけれども、じゃあ、今の共和党っていうのは皆さんのお手本になるような政党だったり考え方だったりするっていうことでしょうか。
A lot of people in our organization, like especially newcomers to our organization, are very pro-Trump, and they come in because Trump's an attractive figure. He draws a lot of people in because of his personality and the way that he promises change and things. But as you get higher up or more conservative, like Andrew and myself are, the more you start seeing discontinuities between our own values and Trump's. So for example, I'm a Catholic. He's in RCIA, which is the process of becoming a Catholic. And we see when Trump promotes things like in vitro fertilization, and we see that he's going to pay for it, we consider that abortion in the Catholic Church, and that's something that Catholics, being a very conservative group, naturally push back against. So there's more topics that we could get into if you want to ask more questions about that, but that's probably the number one reason is his lackadaisical morality, and he doesn't follow through on a lot of promises like the border wall. He was unable to get that done. So because he was unable to, we have some grievances. We still support him, obviously. He's the best candidate of the two, we believe, and that's what we have. But
じゃあトランプさんに何を期待していますか。
So we hope that he calms down more on the immigration things that he's been saying recently. Like he had a statement, he's going to staple green cards to diplomas. We did not like that. So we hope that he rescinds stuff back like that. It's pretty much means you can have legal residency in the United States, and so you're not seeking refuge. So that means that you can't be like deported back to your country once it settles, like once a war settles in your country. If you get a degree in a United States university, then and you don't live in the country and you're not legally a resident or anything, you could get any degree. So an associate's degree, which is 2 years, or some like technical degree like that, and you would, along with that degree, you would allow legal residency in the United States. You could see that as not just being an issue with itself, but also like a foot in the door for migration into the United States to be easier, and especially from like third world countries, which we want to avoid right now, because the central triangle countries in Central America right now, they're a big problem when they come in. Not to say that a lot of them would be coming to a college, obviously they wouldn't have the capital to do that, but if eventually it became easier for them to migrate here, we would be in a worsened condition than we already are in right now.
わかりました。今の話に加えて活動の中で何か今私たちはこういうことやってるということを何かあったら教えてください。
Yeah, of course, we have a lot of activities that we do. So, and then we also do voter registration as well. So make sure that because some people come to campus and they will not be registered to vote, or they'll be registered at home, and their at-home vote might not be as important as a vote here. For instance, I'm from Minnesota. My vote here in Wisconsin for president is more influential in Wisconsin than it is in Minnesota, because Minnesota is going to be a blue state, Wisconsin is going to be a swing state. So we'll do voter registration, try and get people to vote here instead.
この会をやる意味っていうのはどういうところにあると思ってますか？
So the purpose of this club is to get in contact with our younger voters, which really nobody really reaches out to them as much as you think, because there's reaching out on social media and there's reaching out on in person, and there's a big difference between the two. Because if you reach out on social media, whatever algorithm you're on, whether it's a conservative or usually a liberal algorithm, they're going to start feeding you more and more into that circle, and we don't want them to fall into that liberal circle. We want to make sure we keep them in a more at least moderate or more conservative circle. So we want to make sure that we're retaining that young vote.
わかりました。こちらの学生さんですよね。
Yes.
なぜこちらの会に参加しようと思われたんですか？
So I guess in my case specifically, I'm a Christian, and so historically the Republican Party has been, its platform has been built upon and aligned with biblical and Christian values for most of its history. And so, but these days I fear and I'm noticing that the party and its positions and its candidates have been starting to move away from those foundations, and I'm worried about it. So one of the reasons I'm here is I want to try and influence the party in whatever way I can to keep them on those biblical Christian values. I mean, especially in like the recent last couple of years, one example is within this last year, the Republican Party revised its official platform on abortion to the point where it's become much more relaxed on abortion, and as mentioned by Gage, come out in support of things such as IVF, which many conservatives and Christians believe also is murder or abortion as well. And then you're seeing that in a bunch of other aspects within the conservative party, where you just find many candidates are now more so aligning themselves with left values, which we see a lot of them as just unbiblical values.
ありがとうございました。Thank you so much.
Thank you.
いいですか？
All right. So next.
なぜ共和党を支持しているか教えてもらえますか？
Mainly because of the economy. The economy was way better under Donald Trump's first term. A lot of the produce, gas was way down lower. Now eggs are like $7. Gas is about $3 per gallon, and I don't really support that in any way. I would like everything to be cheaper, so it's not a burden on me later on in life, or I need to buy a home, need to support my family. And I was kind of raised in a Republican household, conservative household, so that kind of shaped my views growing up in life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
なぜ参加しようと思われましたか？
So I'm from a conservative household, and coming to Stout, I wanted to make sure that I could find some good friends and good people to surround myself with who would make my beliefs stronger and would also support those. And coming here, it's very hard to trust people because I'm always trying to make sure that, I'm not having bias because I'm being told information by people who are on one side, and then I'm also not hearing.
参加してみて、じゃあその不安は解消されましたか？
Yeah, definitely which candidate supports my beliefs, and I've never been against Trump, just because I've, seen his actions and how they really align with my faith. I do have some things that I'm not super supportive about, but, support my faith, and that's Donald Trump, so.
トランプさんいろんなことで訴訟沙汰になってますけれども、女性問題であるとかそういうことが随分取り沙汰されましたが、そういったことに関しては全然嫌だとかそういうことを思ったことはないですか？
So that's kind of like a gray area for me, because I want to make sure that I'm not saying something is right or wrong, because I don't know the facts. So usually I'm just trying to support who I can support. Obviously, if we had a better candidate than Donald Trump, who was more conservative and didn't have the events happen in his past, then I would choose them. But for the state of the country and what is in now, Donald Trump is the best president that we can get with what we have.
トランプさんのベストな像はなぜですか？
Well, when Trump was in office, we had a great economy, and I wasn't afraid to live in a country that condemned the Christian faith. I won't say that the left is trying to do that right now, but with the policies that they have in place or planning to put in place, I feel like it's not safe to speak my opinion. And under Trump, the freedom of speech feels like it's easier to actually demonstrate. So yeah, I was very happy with how low prices were and how much he values the country and the citizens of America.
ありがとうございました。Thank you so much. 何が理由で保守的だというふうに自分のことを思ってらっしゃいますか？
It was mainly my parents and my family, and also my grandmother. She was a lot of kind of conspiracy theory, but I enjoyed listening to her, and I also watched a lot of what my parents watched. So I guess it's a lot of my parents, but as I've grown up, I've looked it up myself, and I believe in the same things that the Republican Party does mostly. So I chose that. I believe in what it is, so yeah.
トランプさんがいろいろ政策のこととか言っていますけれども、その中で一番これが共感できるとか支持できるっていうものは何でしょうか？
Immigration is one of them, and just overall, when he was in office last, the economy was 10 times better, and I wasn't driving then, but gas prices were very nice. So, and now I pay $43, a half of a paycheck for gas, and for sure my parents for sure were not paying that before. So it has to do with a lot with economy, and because my parents own their own business, and I feel like if somebody else is in office that is not going to value small businesses, because my parents own their own business, if they're not going to value that, then I feel like my parents might lose what they have, and what they have is a considerable amount of a lot.
トランプさんに投票しようと思ってますか？
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you so much.
最初の会長のインタビューでね、世代論が出てきましたよね。ベビーブーマー、それからミレニアル、Z 世代、それぞれ前の世代に反発するんだ。だから自分たちは保守的なんだっていう、こういう世代論が、ちょっと面白いなと思ったし、本当にトランプを支持する若者たちが大勢いるんだ。それぞれこういう理由で支持してるんだってことがよくわかるインタビューだったね。
そうですね。どうしてもね、頭で考えると、例えば人権の問題であるとか、トランプさんがいろんな事件を起こしたけれどもとか、私なんかそのことをやっぱり頭によぎってしまうんですけれども、学生の皆さんからしてみれば、自分たちの育った環境であるとか、価値観であるとか、それから実際の経済問題ですよね。そういうところを考えたときに、じゃあ自分はどちらに近いのかっていうことを、やはり選択していくんだなということを、教えられたような取材だったんですね。
なんかね、日本にいるとね、トランプさんがなんでそんなに人気があるんだろうって疑問に思う人たちもいると思うんだけど、こうやって話を聞くと、なるほどな。だからやっぱり、トランプ・ハリスというのは、接戦になっているんだなってことがよくわかるよね。
そうですね。だからどちらが正しいというよりも、それぞれの考え方の方たちがやっぱり一つの国の中にいて、ちょうどそれが本当に分断されてしまっているという状況の中で、この先はどういう道を進むのかということを今回選択しなければいけないというのが大統領選挙なんだなということを強く感じました。
ありました。で、この後、次はどんな取材ですか？
次はですね、民主党の中でも民主党の考え方に反発を感じている人たちがいるという、そんな取材をしましたので、その方たちをご紹介したいと思います。
YouTube 学園から新しい本が生まれました。歴史で読み解く世界情勢の基本。これを読めば混迷する世界情勢が見えてきます。
チョコレートで読み解く世界史。チョコレートの歴史を知ると今の世界情勢もわかります。
美味しい本ですね。
はい、ぜひ味わってください。